What is good? It's Osiris. I go by Osiris. You're on the channel, Middle MAGA, and I've got a couple things to get off my chest. We are in the aftermath of the tragedy that happened in Nashville. Of course, thoughts and prayers to the family, man. This is crazy stuff going on in our world. And I look at it from the standpoint of, I always look at this thing like we're in a marriage. And thanks for joining. The Angry Canuck said, Tim's one deranged dude. I'm not going to be going after Tim. If I disagree with Tim, I'll say it. But this is not even, I'm using what happened with Tim as an example, and I will get into the Tim Pool stuff in a second. But I'm looking at the aftermath of the Nashville incident, and I look at our country like a marriage. I really do. It's not that simple, but I think you can break it down into that term to understand basically what's happening. So imagine you're in a marriage. I just use the left and right just to keep it simple. Because really it's the left or non-left, if you want to say that. We're in a marriage and a tragedy happens. What do? And what we do is just fight. Like, we got a tragedy, we got basically children unlived, and what do? We're just fighting each other. There's no sensible discourse. And you don't even really need to get too much into the details of the discourse. All you have to do is look and see we're just fighting. I mean, basically almost throwing hands at this point. We're seeing threats. Threats. That's what happens. So what happens, and I talked to my wife about this as well, is what defines our marriage is when things don't go well, how do we handle it? That's how maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe I shouldn't look at it that way because it's a roller coaster ride. But I look at when things hit the fan, that's when your true colors come out. And we were seeing that our country is just a damn mess. That's the biggest takeaway. And I look at Tim Pool and I saw this. This is not, again, going after Tim Pool. That's not what I'm going here. I'm looking at Tim Pool is one of the leaders here in the podcasting space, and I look at Tim Pool as above Steven Crowder. I know a lot of people look at Steven Crowder does a different type of show. Steven Crowder doesn't go to D.C. and have Byron Donalds, Matt Gaetz, Lauren Boebert, the whole crew come through, Jim Jordan. He doesn't do, he interviews politicians, but Tim is a different show, man. There's no show. Joe Rogan doesn't do anything like that either. Tim's show is a different show. It's the #1, for me, political show in that realm. And even when Crowder interviews a Carrie Lake, it's not like a 2-hour sit down. I mean, Tim is in another realm. There's no other podcast like Tim's. Even Steve Bannon's War Room doesn't do that. His is all via video. It's a different dynamic when you bring people in the studio in person. And I look at Tim as he's one of the leaders, he's one of the top people. And in his show, if you don't know, one of his recent shows, he had to pull the live stream. Now, he didn't, I'm just saying he felt like he had to pull the live stream. He had an amazing guest, Ezra Levant. I believe he's the CEO or head of Rebel News. Amazing energy, amazing discussion. After the tragedy in our country, what type of discussion do you want to have? You want to have a Tim Pool type discussion, in my opinion, where you have a respectful discussion about what's happening in our country. Whether you agree or disagree, there's nothing disrespectful going on about the Tim Pool Wonder Bread show. Just call it Wonder Bread IRL. There's nothing controversial going on with that show, not even remotely. So if anybody's telling you that, they're believing something, they don't watch the show, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. So you have, in the aftermath of that, there's nowhere else to go. To me, there's nowhere. Charlie Kirk doesn't have a 2-hour sit down with Ezra Levant. There's nowhere else. Tell me if I'm missing something. With that many views on YouTube, by far the #1 show. So what happens in that realm? So what happens? They're having a respectful discussion about this topic. And Tim Pool has been playing poker recently. He's been talking about it a lot. And what he's talking about is the odds. So here's what it sounded like after. So if you don't know, Timcast IRL, he felt like he had to pull the show. And so I talked about it. 3/27/23, Tim Pool confirms that he pulled the live show. I thought that YouTube pulled it because it didn't. Sometimes when he pulls the show, you can see him say, shut it down or whatever. Timcast IRL, it was episode 744. He pulled it, and here's his explanation why.
Welcome to this special extended Timcast IRL live, uncensored, starting at 9 o'clock instead of starting at 10:10 as we normally do. And no bones about it. We took the show down. To put it simply, there's a couple things that can be said. I'll be a little vague with it because there are still rules that apply to us as it pertains to YouTube and stuff. And I just want to keep things simple. But with this story about a trans person committing a mass shooting, we are on the thinnest of thin ice. And you know that this one's got these people steaming. There's no way around it. A trans person wrote a manifesto and targeted Christians. It's a terror attack. It's a hate crime. And so I'll just put it simply. We got to the point where I felt like we were, that was it. They're just, to put it simply, if we continue, not only will the show be deleted by YouTube and no one will be able to watch it, but we will probably get a strike inhibiting our ability to do the show for the next 2 weeks. So this is the gambit. It's to go all in or fold. And my view is, at this point, we're at the line. I say fold, take the show down, put it up on timcast.com. We'll do the uncensored version. It's unfortunately going to cut out a lot of the normal viewers who don't know what happened, and there's no way I can communicate to them. Or the gamble is get 2 weeks of shows taken down instead of one, and that's fucked. And that's YouTube, and that's the shit we're dealing with right now. But I hope you guys get it. We are dealing with a story of massive political ramifications.
YouTube, is that what you want? I'm not making any determination. I don't want YouTube to get me struck down. But is that what you want? YouTube, people who work at YouTube, is that what you want to go to work every day for? The dude is talking about a topic. Even if you disagree with his take on it, there's nothing crazy there. Tim Pool, if you don't know, a lot of people don't know. I was chatting with people, they don't know. Tim Pool is one of the most knowledgeable people out there with what you can do and what you cannot do on social media and YouTube. He's one of the most, if there was one person in the world to go to, he would be in the top 2, 3 on that list. So what he's saying is you heard him use the poker analogy in there. He made the right decision, in my opinion. He said you got to go all in or fold. He's playing poker. All poker is game theory. You learn the probability of what I have. You read people too, but he's playing poker in person, so you read people more. Online, it's pretty much literally just game theory. I used to play a lot of poker. I love poker. No limit, hold'em. You either go all in or not. You look at the probability. And even if you make the wrong move, even if you lose, if you stay with the probability, you will be successful in the long term unless somebody's cheating or something like that. So what he's saying is, basically, my free speech has been chilled. I have no idea if this video is going to get pulled or not. It's all ambiguous. It's all not only from YouTube, but from some trans group to just go mass flag the video. So I don't know what's going to happen if they give me a strike and pull the video. I thought it was 1 week. I don't know if he misspoke and said 2 weeks, but whatever it is, I can put this video behind the paywall, or I lose a week or 2 weeks of videos. And he does a lot of videos, clipping them up. That's a lot of money for his organization. So bringing it back to this incident that happened in Nashville. The incident happens in Nashville, and the number one podcaster out there, in my opinion, to have a discussion on this with other people on his show, doesn't feel comfortable doing it on YouTube. I don't even need to debate 2A. I don't need to debate the trans issue or not issue. I mean, we'll get into that a little bit, but that's where we have to start. Free speech has been chilled, beyond chilled. I mean, he's not even, YouTube could demonetize it. They could derank it. No, he's worried about strike. And not only that, he's worried about the whole channel getting demonetized. Like what happened to Lotus Eaters. He's worried about the channel getting nuked. Google, Alphabet, they could just say, you know what? It's been fun, Tim. It's not in our best financial interest because you're one of the #1 money earning channels out there, but we could just go bye-bye and just nuke the whole channel. No ramifications. There's no adjudication. Well, you can appeal, but what is that? You appeal to the same people who made the decision. That's where we need to start. That's the issue. Because if you were on the pro-trans side, and you could say, Tim, wouldn't even call him anti-trans. He's just talking about it in a more neutral fashion. But if you are on the pro-trans side, you don't have any problems worrying about the algorithm like that. That is the problem. I don't know what's happened, man. We've had the rise of the Transformers, and I kind of actually do know a little bit what happened. I'll go into that into a second and want to see what the vibe is on the chat. What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday morning. Spice number 23. Greetings. Everett Gransbury, what's up? Man, long time no chat, man. I gotta hit you up, man. What's going on? What's good? Toy Mafia, of course, friend of the show. All out of bubblegum. Oh, I like that. I like that screen name. That means you down for business. There's no more gum to chew. Crowder still does half the show on YouTube, and Tim is making moves. Crowder did that. I don't know where he got it from. Maybe he's the first person I saw do it. If you don't know, Steven Crowder is doing a simulcast. Tim Pool has talked about he is going to be doing the same thing, I think. He's going to follow Steven Crowder on this. Steven Crowder's doing a simulcast. You have to stay on YouTube. You can't leave YouTube. It makes no sense. YouTube's where most of the audience is. Why would you leave YouTube if you don't have to? So Steven Crowder's on YouTube, and they know the algorithm very good. He's got producers and stuff. If they are talking about a topic, they're on a delay. If they're talking about a topic that they think will get them a strike on YouTube, they just press a button. And on the YouTube feed, you hear this elevator music, and it says, and it doesn't say this, but I always think if you want adult conversation, not talking about prawn, I'm talking about like grown-ass men and women talking about a topic, then we can't do it on YouTube. Go to Rumble, and we're continuing the conversation. They usually keep it down, do a good job of keeping it down to like a minute or so it's not like extended. Very good stuff, and it seems to be working. I wouldn't be surprised if YouTube tries to jump in there and do something because they probably don't want that. But that's a good strategy, and Tim's going to do that. Steve Johnson, what's going on? Middle MAGA miscreants. I got to learn how to pronounce it, but it does roll off the tongue. I can't pronounce certain words, man. I think it's because not blaming my parents, but my parents are Jamaican, obviously not blaming them, but there are certain words. I am going to steal that and obviously credit Steve Johnson. Middle MAGA miscreants. And I remember I still remember this vividly. I remember playing Oregon Trail in elementary school or something like that. Classic video game, of course. And I don't know how the topic of batteries came up. But my parents are Jamaican, and it's hard for certain words. The TH sound is very hard for non-Americans. Like thinking, you just say tinking, you just say tink. So if you want to use the Jamaican dialect, you don't say TH. But batteries was a hard one too. So I forgot, I was telling this girl, I remember her name, I'm not going to say her last name, but Tamika was there in this elementary school, and we were talking about batteries, and I said, batteries. And she was like, what are you talking about? Batteries. I was like, what do you mean, what am I talking about? Batteries. We need batteries. Batteries. And she's like, bruh, do you mean batteries? And that was one of the first time I realized, oh, my parents have an accent and I'm learning how to speak like them, which is nothing wrong with it. but I can't. So if you hear me mess up names and stuff like that, I think it still goes back to that. I was saying batteries because they don't say batteries like that in Jamaica. But thanks for stopping by, Steve Johnson. Great friend of the show. Brandon Rudder, Rumble's getting better. Yes, they are. They need block feature because the chats get spam botted. True. Rumble needs to build out, but we've been spoiled on YouTube. I'll speak for myself. I've been spoiled on YouTube. There's a lot I hate about YouTube, a lot about I love about YouTube. Grateful to be on YouTube. Still grateful to be on YouTube. Don't get it twisted, even though I do criticize them. But the platform is refined in certain ways that is really sharp. And you go to Rumble and you see that it's not as sharp. They're getting there. They're getting there. They will get there. They're YouTube before Google bought YouTube is what they are. And that will take me to the next subject. Rumble's trying to come up. They have to prioritize what, before I get back to the trans debate and all that. And again, this is not against trans people. I always have to do this disclaimer because somebody's new to the channel, they might say, oh, this is trans hate. No. This isn't trans hate, but anything can become toxic. You could call me black, and I said Black Lives Matter is a asinine, ridiculous, toxic, non-productive movement. I'm not against black people. So stop trying to, it's more against the using the identity. This trans identity, oh man, they're at the teat, they're milking the hell out of this thing. And it's got to stop. It's become toxic. If I can't talk about it and worry about my video I'm not calling for any type of, trying to call for peace, trying to find out like, how do we live together? I can't talk about it without being censored. You're using the trans identity for whatever else you want to do. And the people that should be speaking out the most are trans people. Like, you should be like, I'm trans, but don't use me for some political nonsense. But let me go to Rumble. Rumble making noise. Young man, Rumble. Let's take a look at what Rumble is up to. This is news that just came out today. Rumble, if you don't know, is an alternative platform to YouTube. Still trying to rise up in this game. Breaking news. This is actually breaking news from today. Rumble will provide a 100% creator revenue share. Let's take a look at this. Rumble will provide a 100% creator revenue share for subscriptions. So if you get a subscription badge for a channel, so it says show your support for a channel. If you show your support for a channel, then you will get, the creator will get 100% for 2023. So what they're obviously trying to do is give creators a motivation to get people subscribing to Rumble channels. Then, of course, I want Rumble to get a share so they can stay alive. 2024 or whatever, they'll probably take their 20 whatever percent of it. Rumble will provide 100% creator revenue share for subscriptions. So they're trying to do this. And this is it. Florida Rumble, the video sharing platform, announced today exciting news that creators will receive additional monetization opportunities through the end of 2023. They have to do extra things because how else are you going to compete with the likes of YouTube? For the rest of the year, creators will receive 100% of the revenue from the purchase of monthly subscription badges, which Rumble, right now, I believe YouTube takes 30% off of YouTube. The opportunity to take market share away from YouTube and Twitch is today, and we are going to capitalize on it, said Rumble chairman and CEO Chris Pavlovsky. For the rest of 2023, as we said, they're going to do that. At the end of the day, I want to have a product that generates more revenue for creators than any other platform out there. There are new subscription badges currently awarding users with a special badge during live chats. So we're seeing that. And Lotus Eaters actually commented on this too. Well, not on this particularly, but Lotus Eaters was like, hey, we went on Rumble and we didn't know it would be like this. We got 1 million views on a video. And I was like, bet. So some people saw this. I'm going to show it on here. Lotus Eaters, if you don't know, is just an amazing, gosh, they just do such a good job intertwining common sense with comedy and all that. The Lotus Eaters podcast did something on Rumble here. They posted a video, got 1.22 million views. Now, some people were looking at this and saying, you got 1.22 million views, but only 618 likes. and 100 comments, so it looks kind of weird. And I understand why you would say that, but I think what that comes down to is you've got to sign into Rumble. And they might just be counting views if you scroll. I don't know. But regardless, I trust that the number means something. So 1.2 million views on Rumble is good stuff. Tim is going to be using Rumble. He's already talked about it. He doesn't want to announce stuff before it comes out because things could take longer and fall apart, but he has talked about that. So we're going to alternative. Yeah, the Rumble chat spam is nuts. YouTube used to be really bad with it too, and they got a little bit better. But yeah, they need to get the spam under control because it hurts the experience for sure with that. Fred of Shaw, Cyan says YouTube have had over a decade. Yeah, they've got a head start. They've got a head start, and they didn't even build up. I mean, what have they really made better since they purchased it? I don't know. But I have in my little byline here, women have to lead this. And this is the power. And I've been analyzing this thing, and I've been analyzing this as from the standpoint of how the LGBTQ rainbow and the trans identity has become so powerful. And it's not people. I got no problem with a fellow citizen who's gay or whatever. It doesn't matter. We can go have a brew. We can hang out. I get no problem with that. What I'm saying is this movement, for example, the NHL, I might talk about that story later, having the players wear rainbow flags to support. Where they do that at? Where an employer makes employees wear something to subscribe to a group of people. Like what? They didn't even do that with Black History Month, did they? I've never heard of maybe they do. I don't know. I've never heard of like an organization. Well, maybe the NHL has done that with Martin Luther King Jr. or something like that, but I don't know. I'm not for it no matter what it is. I'm for if you want to wear one, then go wear one. I don't understand where this push comes, and you can't even criticize or ask questions. I try not to dabble into stuff I'm not an expert in. So you won't hear me saying, oh, this means if you are this means that medically or whatever. Well, actually, I will say leftism is a mental disease. So I guess I do play doctor at times, and I'm not backing off of that statement. But I don't specifically go to trans and say, like some people say it's a mental disorder or whatever. If they know, they know. I just don't know. I don't say that. I'm not comfortable saying that. I am comfortable saying leftism in general, though, is. So maybe that's a semantic argument. But in this take, I can't take the lead on this, y'all. This is the power of identity. And I think I have a theory as to why they're doing the trans, using that even more than black. The black identity is not even being used right now. It's all trans. My theory is it's because women have to take the lead, and they do have women on lock. I've talked about politically black women and how I'm done with that. I'm done with them. Let's just talk about women in general right now. I had no idea. I talked about this a little bit, but I didn't really clip it up. I'm going to talk about it again. I had no idea this comment would elicit the response that it did. I'm going to get to the comment in a second. American women, as a political force, support this unhealthy, trans, toxic movement. Again, this is the force feeding of the trans identity, which it just felt like it came out of nowhere. If you're trans, great. If you're black, great. That doesn't mean you're better. You're not special to me. I'm sorry. I don't care about your black ass because you're black. I care about you because you're a fellow citizen. That's it. I don't care about you because you're trans. I care about you because you're a fellow citizen. God, family, country. That's it. You can like Marvel. You can like DC. I don't care. You can like bananas. You can like eggplants. I don't care. It has nothing to do with me. So I don't care about you because of your identity. And it's become toxic because now it's been forced upon that you have to care about certain people, whether they're black or Jewish or this or that, more because of their identity. And I just say, no, I've had enough. I'm not participating in that. I don't care about your identity. Well, I don't care about you because of your identity. And it doesn't matter what the identity is beyond God, family, country. Go celebrate it. I support your right to celebrate it. I support your right to be you, but you don't force that on me. Don't bring it to the classroom. Take that stuff at home. Do it in your own privacy. You don't need to force it. I like Batman. I like DC more than Marvel. You don't see me forcing that on people. You don't see me creating a movement to say, let's teach children that Batman being a detective is more fun. The storytelling's better. It's less. Batman has no superpowers. You don't see me going into schools and telling teachers to say, hey, let's make sure that people respect Batman over Superman. How effing stupid would that sound? And that's what we're doing. It's to be celebrated because you've got a rainbow. No, it's not. You're not to be celebrated for it. It's ridiculous. And women support it. Sorry, women. It is what it is. And we've got to talk about this. Because what they do with this identity stuff is the same with the black. You do Black Lives Matter. Do you think white people can take the lead against Black Lives Matter? No, they're playing the identity card of black people. White people might look at it like, damn, I see a lot of things, but if black people ain't taking the lead, what do you want me to do about it? That's the same thing with the trans. I know the trans goes both ways, but this topic came up with Leah Thomas. But it's the trans movement in a large part is eradicating women. It ain't eradicating men. Let's just say that. It ain't eradicating men from any space of anything. It's men rising on up. So after we give each other high fives for being the better gender, because now we get awards for women too if we want them, we have to be honest about what's happening. The trans movement has to be rebuked by women. You have to take the lead in this dance. I can't do it. If you don't take the lead in this, what do you want me to do? I can't do anything. We got to talk about it. And y'all ain't taking the lead as a group. American women as a political force support this. They're fully behind it. If they didn't support it, it wouldn't be happening. It's that simple. It's not an attack on all women. I know there's women out there, many in the chat, and I hear there are women. I'm not saying 100% of women support this. I'm saying as a voting body, and we're going to talk about this, as a vocal body, y'all are behind it. It's not an attack on all, but we need to understand and admit this before we continue on. And this is the comment. I had no idea it would elicit this much, and great, let's talk about it. I typically do not go after, I don't mean this like I'm going after people. I typically keep my ire to go after institutional power. And in this case, I need to challenge my fellow citizen. I need to challenge you women. It's it. And, I use this to be somewhat facetious, but there's some truth to this. If I mess up, trust me, my wife lets me know. Everybody's household might be different, but I'll just put it like that. The truth is women are fine with this toxicity, this ridiculous movement that's going on to force feed this on people, where you can't even you can't even speak out about it. You can't even feel comfortable. Tim Pool pulls the video for what? Basically saying facts and his opinion. If they weren't, they would send a clear message to Disney. And we're not. You subscribe to Disney and the Democrat Party, you're full blown with them. And some people replied. Optic Fox took umbrage with my statement, said and got some likes and stuff. As far as I have seen, there are a lot of liberal women who are against this extreme leftism, wokeism. They now feel politically homeless. You can't generalize like this when there is so much complexity relating to the subject. But yes, of course, voting matters. And to me, the problem starts with voting for the Democratic Party. You can't prioritize what's happening and being against it. And this was regards to ESPN celebrating Leah Thomas as a biological man, honoring Leah Thomas during Women's Month. And it's bigger than that. Now we've had the the incident involving a trans person in Nashville. And then the problem starts with voting for the Democratic Party supports this. And please don't misconstrue this. I didn't say anything about supporting Republicans. I didn't even say anything about supporting MAGA. There's Libertarian, there's Green Party, you can make your own party. There's a million different parties. You can not vote. Not voting for the Democrat, not voting at all is better than, to me, if you prioritize this issue, is better than voting for the Democratic Party. So you won't hear out of my mouth, vote MAGA, vote Republican, vote, do whatever you want to do. But if you're voting for Democrats, you support this. And voting for Republicans supports this as well, like traditional Republicans. So you definitely won't hear me say that. They control the wokeism. Biden, the Democrats, they all in on the wokeism. They're pushing it that we see in our country today through large corporations like Disney. So they set the agenda. Disney follows their lead. If you stop voting for Democrats, Disney ain't following their lead anymore. Democrats will abandon it, kind of like defund the police. You don't see too many of them trying to own that anymore. Brandon Johnson running for mayor in Chicago, backpedaling. You won't hear him say defund the police anymore. He still believes it, but he won't say it anymore because it's not popular. It starts there. Women, holler at me, let me know. Somebody said, well, it's different because, a lot of women don't agree, but they're afraid to speak out. Okay, well, that's just a funny way of saying you don't care enough. Yeah, it's just, you're saying the same thing. Somebody replied to me and said, compared this to like Middle East. I played this video from AOC where she was talking about it too. She feels comfortable, obviously. So I got a lot of comments on that. I'll leave it there. But people are comparing this to, Middle Eastern countries. Might be under like Sharia law. Women have to be all covered and all that, and said, hey, do you think all of them support it? Yeah, actually, you're making my point for me. Yeah, a lot of them do support it because it's all they know. And those that don't, they can't speak out. So if we want to break this down to the essence, I think we got to start there. And when you look at the voting, let's just look at, after 2020, you've got to go state by state. But let's look at 2020 and then compare. Let me look at 2020. So in 2020, men went 50% Trump, 48% Biden. I'm not saying vote Trump or MAGA. So let's just look at how many went Biden. 48% of men went Biden. And for women, 55% went with Biden. 55% of women went with Biden. So obviously there's other reasons. I don't vote however you want, but I'm just analyzing it and you support it. So that's the essence of where we are with this. And we have to be honest about it before we continue on. I'm going to go to James O'Keefe in a second, just trying to see. Saya says there's a planned day. I'll skip this is getting a very sensitive term. It's funny, this V word here, which you could kind of say like is maybe similar to the word revenge, but very stronger, was getting people suspended off of Twitter. How's Elon's Twitter doing, by the way? Anybody checked in on that? Go check in on Twitter, see how many people are getting banned. So there's a planned day here. This looks like revenge rally in front of the Supreme Court in D.C. I doubt anybody from the right will be there, but I'm sure the attendees will find something to damage. I hope not. I hope everybody's peaceful, but I'm seeing a lot. I'm going to avoid talking about it too much because I don't know what does get you in trouble. I'm just commenting on what they're doing. It's funny, the same people who are anti-2A, I'm seeing them represent with a lot of 2A. They got a lot of 2A arms, let's just say, in their videos and a lot of threatening words. It's very, very surprising to me, but the hypocrisy knows no ends. Same people who are anti-2A, they represent, and I fully support their 2A rights, fully support it, but it's just weird how they used to be anti-2A, but then now they're fully 2A. To the point where they're making threats 2A. Like, whoa. James O'Keefe got the business going really quickly. So he uncovered what could be a money laundering type of situation with ActBlue. This is how Democrats raise a lot of their money. And he went door to door. And in part, he's showing people how to go door to door. Let me show you his interaction with this this older gentleman here.
And other apps where you can find people's phone numbers and information. Hey there, Mr. Riggs.
Yes.
James O'Keefe, just asking about those contributions we spoke on the phone. Have you donated to ActBlue in the past?
I don't believe so.
You're listed as someone who's given over 31,000 individual contributions to various causes for a total of $230,000 to $30,000 using your name and this address.
No, that's not us.
That's not you?
Nope.
Have you ever donated to ActBlue? Or
I think my wife has, but nowhere near.
are you aware that people are using your name?
No,
Have you donated to ActBlue in the past?
I don't believe.
Oh, sorry. I was on mute again. Mute monster got me. But what we're seeing here is ActBlue. Let me repeat what I was saying there real quick. ActBlue is this left-leaning organization. Thanks for the chat. It's this left-leaning organization, and they raise money for Democrats and left-leaning stuff, and they got ahead of this game from Republicans. They got ahead of Republicans on this, getting small dollar donations. James O'Keefe went to the door of this gentleman here and said, I've got records here, public records that said that you donated 30,000 or more or whatever to ActBlue. He's like, we only donate about 1,000. So something doesn't add up. Something's not reconciling. He's doing just regular. And James O'Keefe is doing this actually. It's almost like an instruction video. It's almost like he's saying, this is how you can do very simple journalism. And this stuff will go viral to a certain extent. Not very hard to do.
I believe so.
You're listed as someone who's given over 31,000 individual contributions to various causes for a total of $230,000 to $30,000 using your name and this address. How much did you donate to ActBlue?
So would you say 1,000 a year?
Probably not 1,000.
Not 1,000?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Would the FEC records say that you've given $230,000?
No.
It appears that someone else may be committing a crime using your address. I'll email you that information, the FEC records.
FEC data suggests 31,000 individual donations.
You think you can find at least some of these individuals?
That's what I do, sir. So when you do these and you walk up to the home, you want to say the person's name. Let's call them Smith. Smith, did you donate to ActBlue or Biden for president? Do you know how many times donations were made in your name? Follow-up question, did you donate 3,000 times?
Yes, this is the funny part. That was one of my favorite parts, and my wife is making a cameo off camera again. But that was one of my favorite parts when he did the superhero. But you see what he's doing. He's just teaching you how to do street journalism.
That's right. You ask those questions in that manner in order to elicit honest responses. We have dozens of other homes just in this state alone, but hundreds across the country that match his profile. You can do the same thing, knocking on doors, asking questions. Like follow up, we can also ask him for comment before we publish the story. We will do that too. This is James O'Keefe reporting on the ground in Annapolis, Maryland for OM.
OMG, y'all created a monster, man. Sometimes things look like it's going to be negative, like James O'Keefe had to leave the company he started, he created, and now you created a monster. Now he's out here saying, you know what, I'm going to create 1 million James O'Keefes. How about that? You go do your thing, man. James O'Keefe is an inspiration. He's a legend. And people, I want to reiterate this again. When we talk about James O'Keefe, he's not a right winger. I don't know who people try to, just like Tim Pool, they call him a right winger. He's not a right winger. James O'Keefe does exposés against anybody, anytime, anywhere. Doesn't matter if you're right or whatever. He's done them against Fox, local, and all kinds of stuff. When he went against Pfizer, you know, that company that sponsors everything, you don't think that's apolitical? The Republicans were madder at him than the Democrats.
The 65th Grammy Awards is sponsored by Pfizer.
I'm going to take a hard left here. I've mentioned before that I admire the CCP. I want to give you an example of how I admire how quickly they move to solve a problem. Now, I don't want to be like them. I don't want to be locked down. I don't want to be under the boot. You say something, you say Winnie the Pooh over there in CCP, you won't be breathing long probably, unless it's going to be in a cell. Hey, real sensitive over there. But there are some pros and cons. Chinese colleges, this is via the New York Post. They come together again, the New York Post with a funny headline, but it's true. Chinese colleges extend spring break. Anybody going to spring break and, you know, fortunate enough to have the money to go off somewhere and have fun in spring break, go have fun, do you. The CCP agrees with it. You know, why did they extend spring break? Because birth rates have plummeted. They said enjoy love. Basically, the CCP is like, go ahead and get your groove on. We don't have enough babies anymore. 2 Chinese colleges are encouraging their students to use longer spring vacations to stop and smell the roses, as they say, the birds and the bees, basic biology. Both the Sichuan Southwest Vocational College and University of Xiamen have extended traditional one-day tomb sweeping holiday to an entire week, moves that some see as an attempt to reverse China's declining birth rate. A smart move, right? They said, hey, go have fun. Leave the classroom, leave campus, enjoy nature, and feel the beauty of spring and love. It's funny how they are so kind of, you know, they go around, they don't say anything directly. Just like that's what they do with war, too. That's why a lot of people on the left don't understand. When China says certain things, it's very aggressive. If you don't understand their culture, they would never come straight out and say, we want to throw hands on you. They would do it indirectly. Just like this. They don't want to say, go out there and go get your rocks off. They say, go enjoy the beauty of nature and springtime and do what bunnies do around this time. Squirrels and bunnies and birds. The birds and the bees. You guys know what I mean. The directions come as China's birth rate continues to plummet. And I am interested on why it's plummeting there, because they lock down social media a lot more. I think they can get around it with VPNs in a way over there, but obviously not as much. I don't know, like I say social media because I think social media has promoted stuff to lock stuff down. I don't know why the birth rates are plummeting. I know they used to have like a tax or something if you had too many kids? That's not there anymore. With only 9.56 million births compared to 10.41 million deaths in 2022. As the aging population poses a threat to the nation's economy, the government has tried to offer incentives to encourage young couples to have more children. This is a complete 180 from the CCP I knew and grew up with. Students are reportedly thrilled to have the extra day off. And look at the young men. Hey, I mean, we've had issues with young men. We're talking about in the United States where they don't want to step to women. So I'm hoping they're not going online to play, I don't know, whatever, Fortnite or whatever they're playing. I hope they're excited to go talk to some young honeys. That's what I don't know. I can't tell by looking at the picture. Because, you might get that extra week off and they'd be like, damn, I can get I don't know what games they're playing over there, like Call of Duty or whatever games you play. No, I think y'all should take that time off and go holler at some honeys. It's okay, man. It's part of nature. See, the women are hoping that that's what's going to happen. Like this, how bad things have gotten. Things have got, because this should be like bred into you from God. Like this is what you do. Like this wasn't like when I grew up. This wasn't a debate. It was like what we did in high school, or whatever. I remember in high school we would go. What would we do on the weekends? Later on in high school, 11th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, definitely senior year. On the weekends, driving around looking for where the girls at. You're looking back at it, how stupid it was. Where's the house party? Where's the house party? Is it a sausage fest? Nah, we good. Where are the girls at? And now we're in the place where the government has to kind of push and say, you guys need an extra day or two? Do y'all need some Marvin Gaye? Do you need some like, what do you need from us? We'll help you out. The CCP, like, do they have to make it a government like policy to say you've got to do some things? You got to take care of business. So they didn't say that. We're all intimating, but we know what they mean. And I like to say, China, they've never been more based. You work hard during the semester, you got to have that time off. They said, take a few extra days. We'd love for you to find something to get into, I guess you could say. Joe Biden, he's been all over the place, and people have concerns about him, and legitimate ones at that. There is this video that came out that I believe this is a real video. Don't know anymore, but I do believe got 4 million views at this point just from Benny Johnson. That he can barely do anything on his own. I know everybody has handlers to a certain extent, but this seems like really hands-on for an adult.
Down here?
Yes, sir. Down the ramp. And we have people lined up on the left over here. Some union leaders and workers.
Hey, guys and ladies.
Your mark is going to be the blue one to the left.
How y'all doing?
You've got a blue mark, and that's okay.
I'll stand my blue mark, and then I'm going to say hello to each one of you.
Yes, sir. I'll help you get started.
Down here?
Yes, sir. Down the ramp.
So that gives you an idea of how much they're handling him. I don't know. Is that more than normal or not? But let's look at the whole context here. When he's not handled, what happens? He drifts off into the sunset. I don't know what's going on here. This is after the speech. He's walking the wrong way again. Where is he going? People are moving out the way like this bro coming in our direction. He's the president of the United States. So if you look at the video, there's like some press corps or women there. They're like, where's this nigga going? Look at this. Let me make sure this is big enough. Let me look at this. So if it is normal for a president to get that handled, okay, that's fine. I don't know either way. Is it normal for a president to have a fake stage too off-site? I don't know. But here he is with no handlers. He's just walking off into the sunset. So he's talking to the workers there, and like this happened before too. Remember, he walked the wrong way after that speech, and then they had to go run and chase him. I have a TikTok. TikTok, I think, banned that one. I think they pulled it down. It's just a video. It's on YouTube though, on the studio, where the same thing happened, and they got to get out the way. They're like, "Oh shoot, the president's coming in. I don't know where he's going. You're going the wrong way, sir." He's pointing like he doesn't know what's happening. I'm not very good with directions, so I will get lost even with GPS. He kind of looks like me getting lost, taking a wrong turn somewhere. Like, wait, that's not where I should be going. And then look at the Secret Service or these people coming in. They're like, let's guide him back. They're probably on the radio like, he's lost again. The eagle is lost. And then intercept. They're like, intercept. Look, he's pointing, that way. And so they try to guide him along. They don't want to hold his hand because that would be really embarrassing. So you see this guy's I think he wanted to hold his hand Kind of like my 4-year-old where, we're walking through the airport. I'm like, come on, hold my hand. Yep. Did you see? I think he wanted to hold his hand, but he's like, that probably the optics wouldn't be good. Come this way, sir. Look dignified. Play it off. They played it off pretty well. But the concerns of our president are real, man. I will say the ice cream. So there was this video that came out where after the Nashville incident, he was talking about chocolate ice cream and stuff like that. I think that video was overplayed. He was there to talk about a small business women's. The speech was not for the Nashville #1. So he came in and he was just trying to get everybody comfortable. That I didn't have any problem with it. And I'm not a Brandon supporter, so maybe I'm off on that, but I had no problem with the ice cream because then he went from ice cream, then he transitioned to kids and like, hey, hang on to your loved ones type stuff. And then he transitioned into the somber topic of Nashville. I had zero problems when I saw the whole 4 minutes. So I think that was overplayed. I want to be careful not to be, as much as I don't like Brandon, I would hate myself more if I'm not fair or honest to myself. But I will say I did have a problem with this. Directly on the topic of the tragedy in Nashville, Brandon is asked about Josh Hawley, who said this is a hate crime. I do not believe in the concept of a hate crime. It is an asinine concept. Somebody got unlived. Yeah, no-ish, it's a hate crime. But if we do have hate crimes, it's a fair question. And here's how Brandon responded. I have way more problems with this than the ice cream incident.
Do you believe that Christians were targeted in Nashville school shooting?
So the volume is very low. Press Corps asks, do you believe that Christians were targeted at the Nashville school shooting? Do you believe Christians were targeted? He says, I have no idea. He's playing games because they haven't come out. Why haven't they come out? It's whataboutism, but it feels like if it was a black church, if it was a Jewish church, if it was a Muslim church, it feels like it would have been a no-brainer. He would have been like, yeah, I think at least it was a hate crime. But whatever, maybe that's in my head. He says no because he can say no because the authorities underneath him have not said that yet. They haven't released the manifesto. So he says, I have no idea if it was a hate crime. That's kind of... really casually throwing it away. Like you could say, I have no idea it was a hate crime while saying, I'm very troubled by it. It might appear that way. I have to wait for the investigation. You don't have to just say, I have no idea. It just came across as the wrong way. He's a Catholic, right? I mean, raised by a Catholic father. I mean, it's just weird how they act. He's pro eliminating fetuses and pro transforming children. Like you can say, it almost is like people don't realize the president can say, I'm not for children transforming, but I'm for their right to be able to do so. It's almost like citizens don't realize the president could have that take anymore. That is a possibility. That is a legitimate take for the president to say, based on my Catholic faith or whatever my faith is, I don't believe it for me. It's not the right thing for me. But if it's the right thing for you, I fully believe that you should be able to have that right. That is a possibility. So I bring that up for him to say, my authorities, the FBI, whoever, DOJ, they have not come out. They're still reviewing the manifesto. But for me, that's what it appears to be. And I want to see their report. He could say that. Instead, he just throws it off like, I have no idea. Do you care? Wow. It was like, he wouldn't respond like that if it was a different identity. If you don't want people to think whether I'm wrong or not, I'm not saying anything definitive, but I think it's fair to question, is there an attack on Christianity right now? I have enough evidence to say so. The reporter asked him, is it a hate crime? Is there something going on with at least this incident going after Christians? He's like, I don't know. Like, do you care? Then my follow-up would be like, do you care? That would have been my follow-up. It sounded like you don't even really care. So they had a different follow-up. I don't know. I don't like the press. I don't know. Easy for me to say, but my follow-up would have been like, you really threw that off real quickly. But so he follow up and says, Josh Hawley believes they were. Who cares? I don't know why they brought up Josh Hawley. It's true, but I would have been more like Christians care. Like, what's your message? Are you Catholic? Like, what's your faith? Like, where are you at right now? So they say Josh Hawley believes it was a hate crime. So then he feels like, oh, it has to be political. Oh, Josh Hawley, so I have to get my joke in.
Holy believe they were. What do you say to that?
Josh Hawley believes they are. What do you say to
I
that?
probably don't then.
I probably don't then. Bring it back. It's very quiet.
Idea.
Josh Holy believes they were. What do you say to that?
Well, I probably don't then.
Probably don't.
No, I'm joking. No, I have no idea.
I'm joking. Is it funny? Like, what's funny, bruh? That was way worse than the ice cream thing for me, because the ice cream thing was he just got to the venue. The speech wasn't about Nashville. He was trying to, he's always trying to be funny. He's never funny. He doesn't have charm. And that's where it comes again. He's trying to have this charm. Oh, Josh Hawley believes it. Well, that means I don't. He always tries to force this charm that he doesn't have. And that's where his gaffes come from. I would say 90% of his gaffes come from trying to be funny or forcing charm when you're not a charming person. Just be who you are, bruh. I think Kamala Harris has the same problem. She's trying to be funny and like, if you say something that's funny naturally, then let it go, but just be who you are. So they say Josh Hawley believes it might be a hate crime. I can't believe what Josh Hawley has to say. So there's 6 dead people. And then he says, I'm joking, because he knows how cringe it is. I don't know how y'all support this. I don't know how y'all support this MFer, man. Where are the Biden supporters?
Where the fuck are the Joe Biden supporters? I can tell y'all why I support Trump. Tell me why y'all support this motherfucker. Ain't doing shit but fucking us up every day, fucking us up. I don't see shit. Anybody saying nothing. They had a whole lot of energy. When my motherfucking man president was in there. And everything that Trump did, I told you, I support him for this. I support him for that. I had to stand behind that shit. Every fucking day I had to stand behind why I supported President Trump. I don't hear no motherfucking body telling me why they support Joe Biden and all this goofy shit. Then when I asked my uncle about this shit, he say, Joe, do you think that I'm with that shit? Do you think I support that? Yes, you support it. If you vote.
Yes, I like that energy. Man, I've been looking at leftism and what it does to people. I'm going to show a quick picture of this, unfortunately, the perpetrator of the Nashville incident. It's unbelievable. Everybody was replying to this, and this was from an article. But I'm going to go to End Wokeness, because I want to support people. Instead of supporting the news outlet, I'd rather support End Wokeness. But End Wokeness posted the video, this picture that they got from this article. And I'm going to go into the X-Files story here in a second, but this is the girl. Look at the girl. Look at what she used to look like. She was just like a normal girl. And I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I'm just looking at what she was and what the hell she turned into. My Lord. Let's look at that one more time. I don't know what conclusion to take, but I just want to, this is the same girl. We've seen Demi Lovato. I've shown all the pictures. Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Believe it or not, she looked somewhat normal and decent. They turned her into this ideology turned her into, this is the appearance. The ideology turned her into Beetlejuice. This is the little girl. And somehow she turned into this. It's not complicated. That's not good. And, that's more serious, but that's why I would say this is dead on arrival. I got that from it. I love it. Eric July kind of made that popular. I don't think he made it up, but if he did, props to him. He made it popular. I need to get a drop. I need to take time to get all these drops. Dead on arrival. My goodness, they're going to do this to one of my favorite shows. The same type of transition you see with anything that the left touches, it turns into a disaster, turns into... Tucker Carlson talked about it. I think you have to think through it more critically, but it turns beautiful things into ugly things. The X-Files is one of the greatest TV shows of all time. The X-Files, it was pure TV brilliance, at least for maybe 5 seasons, 6 seasons, I think. Even the other seasons were good, but compared to the first early seasons, it wasn't as good. But they're going to try to mess with one of the best. Man, you can't do that. There's an X-Files reboot featuring a diverse cast. Oh, my Lord. A diverse cast. That's what I need a good script. How about that? Reportedly in development from Black Panther series director Ryan Coogler, whoever that, I don't even know who that is. They try to destroy everything that's good. You saw what they did to Velma. This is more important. You might think this is a stupid topic. This is more important than politics. You take good things. The X-Files at its core. What was the X-Files at its core? Let me go to Brett from Pop Culture Crisis. He said it beautifully. I retweeted it from him. He talked about the X-Files. And he talked about at its core, what was the X-Files? Of course it's not going to be the same thing. The X-Files was about, they were FBI agents. Shout out to Brett from Pop Culture Crisis, amazing channel, YouTube channel. The X-Files was created during a truly unique time. You will never replicate, and if they do, props. I'll be open-minded to what the show is, but do you think this is going to happen? Mulder and Scully's chemistry, number one, and now how partisan Hollywood has become, the idea that they could create a show about FBI agents that used heavy distrust of federal authority as a central theme is laughable. At the core of the X-Files, all it was a show about FBI agents that thought independently of the FBI, that went against the FBI. They were in the basement because the FBI didn't want them there. You think that's going to happen in Hollywood now? It might. We'll see. But I'm going to say dead on arrival. I'm not expecting it to be great. I won't be participating in it. If I hear good feedback from people I respect, then I will. I will, but I'm not going to give it. I'm not even giving it a time of day. It seems like the X-Files will be the next beloved classic and IP to be updated for modern audiences. How much you want to bet it's going to be them going after like a Trump-like figure every week? How do we get them on this? How do we get the orange monster on this? How do we get the orange gangster on that? That's probably what it's going to be like. This orange guy is racist against everybody. How do we get him? You know what they're going to be about? They're going to be like, the FBI isn't using enough power against ordinary citizens. The FBI isn't using the weight of the federal government on mothers who are concerned about curriculum in schools. They're not. So that's how this left does it. Cenk Uygur tried to say, you know what, guys? I don't agree with CNN anymore. You know why he doesn't agree with CNN? Because he doesn't think they're woke enough. That's why. He's not against CNN. He just doesn't think they're woke enough. And that's what it's probably going to be. You're going to have a black-ass Mulder and Scully or whatever, and they're going to probably be like, the weight of the federal government isn't doing enough to uplift black people. Exciting. Who can't wait for that script? If I'm wrong, I'll eat crow. That's what I'm expecting. News of the reboot's existence was first revealed by the series' original creator, Chris Carter, during an appearance on the March 27th episode of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation's Vancouver-centric news podcast. Chris Carter, who did an amazing job, stopping by the show in commemoration of the 30th anniversary of the... Oh, man. Wait for this, guys. If you watch the original X-Files like I did, when it aired, like it was on... I think it aired on the weekend. Was it Sunday? I forgot what days already, but... If you waited and watched X-Files the day that it aired on, 30th anniversary. How about that for aging you? 3 decades, more than a generation. If you don't know about the X-Files, go find it. I don't know where it's on. It was on Fox. All these channels are segmented now, so it's probably on some streaming place. But man, that show was so good. 30 years ago. How about that? 30 years anniversary. Carter was asked, how would you make it now in the current day? How would the X-Files be different? How would it need to be different? It was FBI agents that had questions about the federal government. To which the creator asserted, oh gosh, we're so steeped in conspiracies now. What? The X-Files dealt with a central conspiracy, but now the world is so full of conspiracies that I think it would be a different show. I don't know. How would it be a different show? Why would it need to be a different show? It wouldn't need to be a different show. It'd be the same show, different conspiracies. And we're still talking about UFOs. The government the government said they shot down a UFO. This happened. They said that they got close to the UFO and it messed with their systems. They just need to continue it. You wouldn't need to reinvent the show. No need to reinvent the wheel on that one. It would be different conspiracy theories, but nothing like that. This show was so far ahead of its time that it seemed like it exposed things before they happened. And the chemistry too. That's all it was. It was kind of the friendship, sexual chemistry, FBI agents against, the government, at least questioning their own government and then getting shut down for doing it. It's more pertinent today than ever. There would be no reason to change anything like that. What Chris Carter's really saying is I don't think I could do what I did before because we would be canceled. That's what he really means. Here's the X-Files that I remember. I'll end on this. The X-Files did this 26 season 10. This is season 10. This was X-Files wasn't even that good.
Tad O'Malley has been making claims.
Claims about what?
You and everyone you know has a piece of DNA in your genome, put there without your knowing it.
Put there by whom?
Well, that's the question of the day.
This is an internet lunatic. You're not saying you believe him.
Hold on, Agent Einstein. You're talking to a scientist.
Forgive me, Assistant Director. It may sound insensitive, but the suggestion is pure science fiction.
What I'm saying, Agent Einstein, is that the facts, as I understand them, cannot be discounted out of hand.
No one has the right or the ability to tamper with your DNA.
Unless we gave them that ability.
You say they're tampering with our DNA, that they're able to shut down our immune systems by the addition of something to our DNA.
Yes, but I don't know how exactly.
Or how it's being triggered.
I don't know that either.
Or why it's happening now. What can we possibly do?
We need to act quickly.
You were right about that.
Well, I was wrong about the science. I was wrong about what's causing it. Dead wrong, in fact.
But it's clearly a widespread failure of our immune systems.
Through gene tampering. A virus within a virus that was put there through the smallpox vaccine. It's what these men are calling the Spartan virus.
We have to figure this out. What's wrong with the science?
Okay. The Spartan virus removes the adenosine deaminase gene from your DNA. Removes the ADA gene and your immune system will simply vanish.
Yeah, but I'm not getting sick.
It's only a matter of time.
Okay. So how does it work? How does the virus remove the ADA gene?
A process called CRISPR-Cas.
CRISPR-Cas9. RNA and a protein cutting genes at exact locations.
Exactly. But in this instance, used as a weapon.
The ultimate weapon. The ability to depopulate the planet. To kill everyone but the chosen.
By tampering with their DNA.
Through gene editing.
Why do such a thing and lie about it? Our own government.
Your own government lies as a matter of course, as a matter of policy. The Tuskegee experiments on black men in the 30s, Henrietta Lacks.
What are they trying to do?
That's the missing piece.
But it's not hard to imagine. A government hiding, hoarding technology for 70 years at the expense of human life and the future of the planet. Driven not only by corporate greed, but a darker objective.
The takeover of America.
And then the world itself, by any means necessary, however violent, or cruel, or efficient. By severe drought, brought on by weather wars, conducted secretly using aerial contaminants and high-altitude electromagnetic waves. In a state of perpetual war. To create problem, reaction, solution scenarios to distract, enrage, and enslave American citizens at home. With tools like the Patriot Act and the National Defense Authorization Act, which abridge the Constitution in the name of national security. The militarization of police forces in cities across the U.S., the building of prison camps by the Federal Emergency Management Agency with no stated purpose, the corporate takeover of food and agriculture, pharmaceuticals and healthcare, even the military in clandestine agendas to fatten, dull, sicken, and control a populace already consumed by consumerism.
And I encourage you all to go shopping more.
A government that taps your phone, collects your data, and monitors your whereabouts with impunity. A government preparing to use that data against you when it strikes. And the final takeover begins.
The takeover of America.
By a well-oiled and well-armed multinational group of elites that will cull, kill, and subjugate.
Happening as we sit here.
It's happening all around us.
The other shoe waiting to drop.
It'll probably start on a Friday. The banks will announce a security action necessitating their computers to go offline all weekend.
Digital money will disappear.
They can just steal your money?
Followed by the detonation of strategic electromagnetic pulse bombs to knock out major grids.
What will seem like an attack on America by terrorists or Russia.
An invasion of the U.S.
The Russians tried it in '47.
That was when the show was bad. Shout out to the X-Files, one of the best, one of the greatest shows on in the history of television. That's when the show was bad. Not when the show was at its best. That was not the prime of the show. If you never watched that show, go back and enjoy. Thank me later if you've never seen that show. Broken Tradition's probably gone right now. Thanks for stopping by. Great show. Got to run. Appreciate the $5 super chat. If the writing of the show is great, see, the problem when I say dead on arrival is because they're leading with the diversity of the cast. Make a black-ass Mulder, make a black-ass Scully. Don't even tell me. Talk about the great script writing. Talk about there's no other show out here that's going to have the courage that we have to go against the government or talk about these issues. I'd be all for it. No, they ain't talking about that. They're talking about diversity. What's the first episode going to be? Probably going to be like the FBI isn't doing enough to protect trans rights. Probably be the first episode. Like what else do we need to do to, what else does the government need to do to affirm LGBTQ and trans? If we haven't done enough to show acceptance, then there's nothing, what else do you want from them? I don't know what else we could do. But that's probably be the first episode because that's such a hot topic right now. For those who are blackity blacks, don't worry about it. Y'all in the background right now. It's a trans. Unless you're a black trans, you in the background. You ain't got nowhere to go, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Have you ever been offended by the algorithm? Well, I have. I'm gonna be honest. I've gotten into my feelings about the algorithm. Why? Because I was on TikTok. And I might have played this before. I don't even remember, but I'm so offended. We'll play it again. It's 15 seconds. The algorithm gave me this video, and I demand to know why.
I got a fupa like a truck. It's been drugged through the mud. Runs on kids and caffeine. Wearing these leggings cause I ain't squeezing it into jeans. I got a fupa like a truck. It's been drugged through the mud.
Now, do you see why I'm offended? Because when I'm on TikTok, I've told you I get all kinds of stuff, from how to work out to rappers with dope verses to beat makers to politics to, I get sometimes now I'm getting even like baking stuff, cooking stuff. I'm trying to cook more dinner and stuff. So they're feeding me like recipes and stuff. All of a sudden, this is not somebody I follow. All of a sudden, I got this random chick on my TikTok talking about fupas.
Cause I ain't squeezing it into jeans. I got a fupa like a truck. It's been drugged through the mud. Runs on kids and caffeine. Wearing these leggings 'cause I ain't squeezing it into jeans.
I am totally, because the algorithm is a reflection on who you are. The algorithm knows you better than it knows yourself. I demand from TikTok right now, this is an official statement from middlemaga.com. If you don't know what FUPA means, FUPA means like fatty upper pubic areas. It's typically, they talk about it on women typically. FUPA, fatty upper pubic areas. I demand, damn all this TikTok ban, damn all this First Amendment, damn all that. I want answers now. I want every piece of data that went into the decision for TikTok to feed me a FUPA thing. It might be looking at, if you look at prawn or whatever else, I bet you it's getting data from the metadata or whatever saying, oh, you kind of like this, or who knows if it's picking up stuff off of a mic, like you talked, have you said the word FUPA or whatever, you talked about that with somebody? Oh yeah, we might just throw a FUPA video in the mix. Fatter upper pubic areas. We can't keep that stuff secret, man. That's too powerful. That is way too powerful. If the algorithm thinks that you need FUPA in your life, something's off, man. What's next? I'm joking a little bit. I'm not even joking. I demand an answer. That's the power of everything. When you can go ahead and tell me that I need a FUPA video. Once you do that, there's nothing else. There's nothing else that's out of your control. At least I don't have this as a problem. When you take certain products that are sponsored by certain companies.
The 65th Grammy Awards is sponsored by Pfizer.
They give you a warning and they say that if you suffer from this situation for too long, then you need to call a doctor. And the situation is a hard banana. If your banana's too hard, then you have a problem. If it's too hard for too long. And it is what it is. I mean, that's just looking out for you medically. Chuck Schumer talked about it, I believe. Don't believe me. He's the resident doctor.
Senators will have to decide if they believe Donald John Trump incited the insurrection against the United States.
So
Senators will.
If you have that excitement for too long, you have to call a doctor. How about if you've had that excitement fossilized in amber for 99 million years? National Geographic, I guess they decided to get into the clickbait headline business. And if you're in social media, then you've got to be in that business if you want to make money. Fossil Daddy Longlegs sports, this is from National Geographic, sports a 99 million year erection. The unfortunate harvestman, the first found fossilized in amber with a fully erect penis, also belongs to a new arachnid family. I see you, National Geographic. Get your money on. You got to do these clickbaits, man. Like, nobody cares about what you have to say unless you're talking about something worth talking about. Weird and wild. So my thought is, I mean, if you've got a 99 million year old, I mean, what's to stop Jurassic Park? Is there stuff stuck in there in amber and that's been fossilized for 99 years that could create a mutant daddy long legs or something? Is Jurassic Park real? That would be my next question. But I'd say that sounds uncomfortable. The clickbaiting headlines are a part of the problem. That was the whole blackface meme thing that went viral. It was a clickbait headline. That's all it was. It wasn't anything more than that. They wanted to get clicks. We got over 27 million views for that, believe it or not. So we know what it was about. Taking a hard turn here, that a lot of the decisions that came down in the pandemic, it came down to money. And this is a good thread from a great person on Twitter talking about this, Mackenzie. The pandemic has seen a record wealth transfer of $5 trillion to the elites. I don't want to lose track of this. That's what it really came down to, power, all that. But they don't do it without money. Over a third of small businesses were closed down, record rates of depression, all the aftermath. But it wasn't bad for some people. It wasn't bad for everyone. Let's just hope it wasn't the very people who are in charge of the pandemic response. Oh, wait. Billy G secured hundreds of millions of dollars in profits from his foundation's impeccably timed investment in BioNTech, the Pfizer partner for the shots. It always comes back to it.
The 65th Grammy Awards is sponsored by Pfizer.
Mackenzie tweeted this back in February. Billy G turned his $55 million V investment. So this guy is invested in the V, in the partner for this P company, into $550 million in just under 2 years. Not just under 2 years, 2 years where a lot of people got devastated financially. This bruh, order of magnitude, 55 million to 550 million. That's how these people out here, I did the video on Bezos, got a yacht with a yacht on it. And it was a cheap yacht compared to the money that he made. They got yachts with yachts. Yachts on yachts on yachts. The Billy G Foundation banked, wait till you see the untaxed profit, banked a roughly $260 million in cash from the sale of this company here, with $242 million being untaxed profit, given that the money was invested through the foundation. So you put it in a good package. I got this foundation, man. It does a lot of great stuff. You know what it does? It allows me to get $242 million in profit untaxed. Good luck to the rest of y'all. Billy G's like, I'm good. We good. The pandemic, man, we need another one. No wonder he's like, when's the next one coming? The next one can't come soon enough. What do they need all this money for, man? And he really doesn't, where is he spending it? He doesn't really spend it, shorting Tesla? What else does he spend it on? I do give a shout out. I have criticized Mr. Joe Rogan. I want to give him a shout out because he does have some courage too. He talks about it. He's not afraid to talk about it, man. This is courage right here to talk about Billy G out in the open. I give a lot of respect for this right here. This is the great one, the podcasting living legend, Joe Rogan.
Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation profited millions of dollars on the vaccines. Millions and millions of dollars. It's all easy to find. And then once he dumped the stock, then he completely changed his narrative and he started talking about how ineffective the vaccines were and about how the virus wasn't as bad as we thought it was and about it was mostly targeting old and obese people. Like, this is fucking wild because this is the same guy that through the entire pandemic was talking about how great these vaccines are and these vaccines are so effective and they stop the virus and they stop transmission, they stop infection, and all that was a lie. And he profited off those lies.
Yes.
And everyone wants to pretend that he's just like this amazing philanthropist. Like, no, he made a lot of money. This is motivated by money, and his entire career he's been motivated by money.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been a guy who is really good at monopoly, and that was why they went after Microsoft so many times for monopolistic practices. I mean, he's a businessman, and in that time, his business was the business of telling people things that he's not educated in. All right, he's not a scientist. He's not a virologist. He's not a medical doctor. Yet he was this public health advocate on television telling everybody to go out and get this medical intervention that he would profit from, which is fucking wild. It's really wild that it's that transparent, that it's not like multiple steps and shell corporations and it's really difficult to find out where the money's going. It's like right there. It's like the Nancy Pelosi stock trading thing. It's like, Jesus Christ, it's right there. Like you knew, and so you did that and sold, and you did that and bought, and you've made hundreds of millions of dollars off of $100,000 a year salary. Like what the fuck is going on? This is crazy how transparent it is. You're not even hiding it. It's right there.
And you have to run from censorship to talk about it. But I think you need to have courage. Dr. Shiva Ayarude, who I highly respect, I'm actually going to put him probably on my top 10 presidential list, believe it or not. I'm going to update that list shortly. But here he is talking about the courage. We need courage to be able to speak up. Understand you can get fired or whatever, or you got to look at the consequences. There are risks to speaking up, but I think we need to have that courage.
And what I'm trying to tell everyone is that First Amendment does not exist anywhere on this freaking planet. And if you're not willing to die and fight for it, you're a slave. What the hell does life mean? You have your little home and you have your little kids and you do this and that when you're a freaking slave. Who wants to live like that? This country was built on people who didn't give a damn if they lived or died. They wanted freedom. Think about my friends who are Italians. They said their parents got on a boat with 2 bags. They didn't have any jobs. And now we have millennials. Well, I want this, I want that. It's like you freaking lost your mind.
Yeah.
You don't know what it means to suffer. You don't know what others don't have. And you're asking me if I'm scared? No, I'm not fucking scared. I'm fucking angry. You should get angry. This shit is fucking ridiculous, okay? The fact that I have to represent myself is fucking ridiculous. Scared? Scared of what? Scared that I may lose my little house? What the fuck are you scared about? It's the wrong question, Sam.
That's my dude right there. Yeah, that's the energy that you need to have. Understand there are consequences. There could be difficult. The path will not be easy. But yeah, that's what we're talking about. When I challenged women earlier in this live, when I talked about women, the only reason the trans stuff is going is because women aren't stopping it. They're the only people who can stop it. There is no trans movement eradicating men. It doesn't exist. So I can't be the lead on that, just like I hate to say it. Other people of other colors can help, but you can't, when they use the black identity as a weapon, it's up to black people if black people don't care, then nobody else gonna care. That's the power of the identity. And you got to think about making moves to speak up. And I'm talking about after the tragedy of Nashville. It's at this point I'm not really trying to argue with y'all. I'm not really trying to argue with people who are worried about the pronouns. Man, do you know how crazy this was? In the aftermath of when the Nashville stuff came down, I went live. I was like 4 hours late on it, but they were saying, well, it was a woman that did it. And we were like, wait, that's weird because it's rarely a woman that's doing these type of incidents. The police came out after I was done with that live. The police came out and said, they asked them, was it a trans woman? The police, the representative, whatever chief that was talking, was like, yeah, it's a trans woman. He was confused. He didn't know. I don't blame him at all. He obviously had no idea about this gender stuff. He was completely in the dark, just a normie. So they asked him, was it a trans woman or trans man? He didn't know what each one was. He said trans woman. So I was like, oh, okay, that made sense. I even posted on the community page. I was like, oh, it was a biological man that represented as a woman. And it turned out he was confused. He was wrong. It was a biological woman and I'm like, all right, I had enough of this. When you come out, when we are in the midst of a tragedy, I need you to tell me if you know the biology. I don't care about the pronouns. The first thing I need to know is this a biological man or woman? That's it. And you do whatever you do with the pronouns or whatever the hell else. We were in the midst of in the aftermath of a tragedy, and we don't even know what the gender of the person was. I'm not blaming the police chief. This stuff is complicated. He didn't know what the hell's going on. He was like, yeah, it's a trans woman because it was a woman that he didn't even know. That's a sign of a problem. That's a sign of a really, really, really big problem. And if we can't even, if we can't even come out and acknowledge that, just that fact that we are in the midst of the fall of Rome, if we can't something happens, we can't even say the description right, biologically right of the person, but then we are slaves, like Dr. Shiva Arude said. I'm going to be out in 10 minutes here. Steve Johnson, let's take a look here. Scotty, let's go to Scotty. Scotty says, Shiva is right. I met him once. Oh, cool. And he was really smart and cool. I got fired from my last job for speaking up and calling the HR dude a coward and anti-human, etc. Yep. So you do understand. You want to understand that there are ramifications. You got to have fallback. So I fully understand if you can't risk it, you have to be smart. What's the risk reward? That doesn't mean that you ignore risk reward. What's the risk of speaking out? What's the reward of speaking out? Are you doing it respectfully? I don't need speaking out that's not respectfully. Sounds like Scotty did do it respectfully. Then you get fired. And then we got to work through that, figure things out. Steve Johnson says, makes me think of my grandfather. He raised 3 daughters. If something was wrong, he'd let them handle it. If he wanted help, though, he would step up and handle it. Women unify, speak up. That's not to say yes, men, not that men won't support, but men can't take the lead on this. It's just not, I don't see how that works. If women are fine with men invading their spaces, then how can men defend women in that? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't have any energy to defend it. If women don't strongly rebuke and it starts with the Democratic Party. If they don't strongly rebuke what we see from the Democrat Party, then it is what it is. Let's check in on Elon Musk's Twitter. How's Elon Musk's Twitter going, everybody? Remember, I was popping bottles at one point, like, yeah, Elon Musk got Twitter. It's going to be, Elon Musk going to do it. He's going to do it. And, let's see. What's going on with Twitter? Oh, it's nothing big. Just cat turd locked out of his account. Great. Wonderful, Twitter. Caution, this account is temporarily restricted. I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know. There's this whole day of revenge is what I'm paraphrasing, but it sounds like a lot of tweets are getting banned and locked. Amy Moreno on Twitter said, I just went through, deleted every questionable tweet of mine regarding the latest subject, that day of revenge or whatever they're calling it, getting everyone banned and locked out. And during that process, I realized that I really am a lunatic. Who radicalized me? They did. You're not a radical, but you're stepping up against them, so that makes you one. Twitter's a mess, man. People getting locked out from, what's his name? Because this whole V word is what seems to be triggering it, but what's his name? Michael Knowles got locked out. I don't know what's going on with that turd. But it's a mess. It's just an unmitigated disaster. I don't know what they're doing for the censorship. It's just all over the place. Because the people using the V word is not, they're responding to it. They're not calling for V word. They're responding to people who are calling for it. And they're the ones getting taken out. You follow the money in our country. I'm going to be out here in a second. You follow the money in our country and it takes you to weird places like Billy G and Janet Yellen, Treasury Secretary. She's what's her big concern right now? We got banks failing and all kinds of stuff. What is she on the mic talking about? Oh, my volume's too low on it. She's talking about the weather. She's talking about the weather. And I try not to say the CC term. There's too much going on right now to worry about the weather. We don't have that luxury at this point. I actually saw the stock market doing well today. Don't be confused by that, but I mean, good sign. We'll see how long that goes, how long that lasts, but there will be ebbs and flows, ups and downs with the stock market. Do not get it twisted. One of the hot articles that's been talked about here over the last hour or two is the censorship that I've been talking about. And I'm going to bring it up here again. in regards to Elon Musk's Twitter. I don't know what's going on. Something's going on with it. Top conservatives are getting locked out. So we don't know if these are internal people or if there's an algorithm or what's going on. But trending politics news is kind of tracking it. In the aftermath of this whole incident, we're seeing multiple accounts getting locked out. Benny Johnson got locked out. Twitter's locked out Benny Johnson's account. I know there have been some mistakes with policy enforcement around sensitive issues, but I guarantee what was said was lawful speech. I would appreciate a second look at this. So he got locked out. We got Ian Miles Chung got locked out. Cat Turd was locked out yesterday. I don't know if he's back now or not. Just insane. Post Millennial got locked out. And these are not the accounts calling for like bad things, violence, all that kind of stuff. Sean Forrest, if this BS continues, you can take the $8 and shove it up your microchipped ass. Does this look like free speech to you? Locked out. Jason Robertson. Yesterday I tweeted the below and attached the graphic for this trans day of whatever you want to call it. Twitter locked me out for inciting violence and denied my appeal unless I deleted the tweet. Yeah, that's what's happening. And I'm not surprised. Ye didn't incite any violence. He got locked out. What's the difference? You didn't think it was going to happen to you? I'm not surprised at all. I don't think there's any accident happening. He might change his mind. He might come in, but I don't think this is an accident. Just my opinion. I'm gonna leave out with a little Black Pegasus. Black Pegasus had a song during the height of the pandemic showing courage, and he's always shown courage. It was a Dr. Fauci and Bill Gates diss. Thanks for checking out the channel. Appreciate you. I'll clip out what I can for clips, and I'll be in touch. Black Pegasus.
Yeah. Nobody knows the struggle is real, huh? Nobody knows the hustle is ill, huh? Nobody knows how to be humble and chill, huh? All they know is they love the appeal, Nobody knows the struggle is real, huh? Nobody knows the hustle is ill, huh? Nobody knows how to be humble and chill, huh? All they know is they love the appeal, huh? Dr. Fauci got me feeling grouchy. I'm ready to pull the AK out the couchy. Lead pop, headshot, whoop, Ronda Rousey. You ain't getting up after you hit the ground. See, bouncing, lock and loaded for the future. Yes, astounding, good position, Kama Sutra. Everyone master door like a lucha. Press my fam and you know I'ma shoot ya. So much fake news and false imagery. I don't follow the rules that take liberties. I don't follow the fools that stay gimmicky. I acknowledge the jewels my folks giving me. Divide and conquer, it's so evidential. They forgot the American dream, so essential. Censorship to wipe truth from memory, but they want me and you to be enemies. Nobody knows the struggle is real, huh? Nobody knows the hustle is ill, huh? Nobody knows how to be humble and chill, huh? All they know is they love the appeal, Nobody knows the struggle is real, huh? Nobody knows the hustle is ill, huh? Nobody knows how to be humble and chill, huh? All they know is they love the appeal, huh? Bill Gates got me ready to peel 8. 18 months for a vaccine, we'll wait. Ill fate, humanity's just a dollar sign. They wanna give us more shots in Columbine. It's crazy, I'm not even anti-vax. We have the right to choose, and that's a fact. This ain't China, Russia, it's America. You gon' have hell to pay for this hysteria. Tracking devices, immunity license. Stay home, wear a mask, identity crisis. Stimulus check, just another covenant to crash the dollar, a one world government. Control the vision, isolate like prison. Facial recognition, no valid permissions. Made a decision, can't restrict my rights. Yeah, premonition, I'ma live my life. Yeah, nobody knows the struggle is real, huh? Nobody knows the hustle is ill, huh? Nobody knows how to be humble and chill, huh? All they know is they love the appeal, and nobody knows the struggle is real, nobody knows the hustle is ill, nobody knows how to be humble and chill, all they know is they love the appeal,